Hey everybody, Half Crimp here. I just wanted to do a quick video walkthrough of the Project Diablo 2 trade site. We've done a few here and there, but there hasn't really been an official one. And I just wanted to go through a bunch of stuff and point out some of the things that I find are useful and just give you some general information. Quick caveat, this is being recorded, what is this, April 10th, 2024, and stuff will definitely change. Things will be added, maybe removed, stuff will be changed and rearranged, but hopefully you'll be able to kind of piece it together. This might be a bit of a long video, so it's definitely a stay a while and listen situation, but we'll try to provide some timestamps just to make sure if you're looking for something in particular, you can jump right to it. All right, so landing page, not much. If you're coming to this video, you probably don't need to be convinced to play PD2, but there's just some general information if you need to. If you do not already have an account, if you have an account with the old trade site as of a few years ago, you will need to create a new account on the new trade site. Just provide username, email, all the normal stuff, and then you will be emailed a confirmation link that you'll just need to do to click on just to make sure that you actually do own that email. Or if you already have an account, obviously you can come log in. Um, Once you're in, there is the dashboard page, which this one will probably change a little bit, but it gives you some quick, kind of helpful little bits of information. If you have any saved filters, which we'll go through in a second, you can quickly go through and find some items that you're looking for. It shows a list of your recent characters, any offers that are coming in on any of your items, and any items that you've listed recently will be here. Then the other important stuff after you if you've just created your account, you probably want to head to the settings page. This top bit will come and go depending on whether there is a beta active or not. So this will disappear once the actual season starts. But in here, there's a lot of really important bits of functionality. So you can create a new game account if you need to do that. Quick note that you are only allowed to link 5 game accounts to your website account. So there's a limit there. If you have old game accounts and maybe this is a new website account and you want to make sure that you can link your old game accounts to this new account, you can sync them automatically if the emails match up. And then you'll see a list of your registered accounts here. If it is under a different email, you can go through this additional functionality of linking accounts where you can provide an account name. You would then search for that account. If that account is not already associated with a website account, it'll let you proceed and it will say, hey, here is the email that account is registered under. If you know this email and you correctly put it in here, it will link to your account, to your site account. So that's one way. If you have old stuff floating around in the ether, to attach it to your website account, that's the way to do it. If you have too many accounts, for instance, if you are at your 5 limit and you want to get rid of one, you can unlink. It's a 2-step process. And don't worry, this is not doing anything to delete the account. It's not even really deleting the registration with this website account. It's just taking it off of this list. So if I unlinked this main Half Crimp account, I could easily get it back through this process too. So if you're running out of space and for whatever reason you want to create a new account and associate it, you can unlink and do that. A new-ish thing that we have added is you can now change your game account password through the website. So you have to choose one of the accounts that's associated with your website account, and then you can easily just do a new password and password confirmation. No like 2-step process or anything there. This is pretty strict. It makes sure that that the account that you're choosing is associated with this website account, obviously, and it makes sure that it is only associated with this website account. So Again, if you run into any issues with this stuff, it's a fairly new feature, so just open a ticket if there's anything going wrong. There is a notification section, so the notifications will appear both as an alert, like a sound alert, and will pop up in this top bar. And you can choose whether you get these notifications, the sound notifications for getting chat, like a new chat message, which we'll go over, and if you're getting any kind of offers or accepted offers on any listings. So you can toggle that if it's getting annoying. One big thing that I'm hoping a lot of people will do is link your Discord account. So it gives you a little bit of information here, but this allows you to use Discord instead to get notifications on when you get offers or accepted offers. Same thing as up here. And there are a few new features too. It's mostly that Discord is more reliable in terms of notifications. More people have it up and open all the time, more so than the trade site. And it's just, you can get your notifications on your phone and everything, and it's a little bit easier. So to do that, there are some instructions here. But if I were to do that new, I would go through. You have to turn on, this is annoying. I know it's annoying, but it's a weird Discord API thing. But if you go to your settings and you turn on developer mode, all we need to do is get your Discord, your actual Discord ID, not your username, but your actual unique ID. So if you turn on developer mode and then click your profile, you can copy your user ID and get it that way. And just paste it in here. We will then, once you save your preferences, we will send you a message in Discord saying, hey, confirm that you have done this, because obviously anybody can get your Discord ID. So we want to make sure there's a two-step process there. But as soon as you verify that, then you're ready to go, and you can toggle this on and off as well, whether or not to send notifications to your Discord. Going further, there are some kind of preferences that make trading a little bit easier. You can say whether you generally want to use the site for a softcore ladder, and this will keep kind of a default filter for listings. You can choose a default account for what you want to use to create your listings. So like Half Crimp is my main character. I'll probably want to put that. And then you can actually choose a default stash page too, if you are using the kind of list view on creating a listing, which we'll go over, and it will use that rather than having to sift through a whole bunch of stash pages. And then finally, if you need to reset your website password, all that stuff is there. The other big thing that you would want to do early before we kind of dive into more of the trading specific stuff, that's an obvious one, is if you want to download the game. You can go here, there's some instructions, and you can actually download and get started that way. All right, moving on to some of the more trade site specific stuff. Big one, obviously, creating and making offers on trades. So if you go to the trade section, the main thing you'll see is the buy section essentially. So if I search, I can see there's all kinds of trades coming on. People hopefully pricing things for offer, which is always fun. But anyway, this is kind of one of the main things that you'll be looking through. So there are, as you can see, a lot of ways to filter the trades. You can do properties. So let's say, in the steel shade, if I'm just doing like all skills, I can filter by a property. I can say, min max there, and you can do it that way. There are some more complicated properties. So you can do like chance to cast, and you can see that the formatting is kind of wonky. But it does work. So you can say, if I want chance to cast like amplify damage and whatever, you can filter stuff like that. You can do all the things that you would expect. So you can filter by name, by price if you want to. If if you're putting up like a skill grand charm and you want to find like a necro summon charm for a druid summon charm, you can search in there. You can go through and do the type of item. So again, if I'm doing charm, I can choose type charm and choose, grand charm. I can choose the rarity, whether or not it's corrupted, whether or not it's ethereal, min-max sockets, all this kind of stuff that you would expect. You can filter by whether or not the user is online on the trade site, whether they're online in the game. Do note that these two are can potentially get out of date. There's just a bit of caching that goes on, only a couple minutes, but anyway, if you see anything weird, like somebody shows up as being in game and they're not, it's usually just a very specific timing issue. You can sort by things, so you can sort by default is basically timestamp. If you want to sort by price, if they have a high rune price on there, you can sort it by that. Again, you can go through and choose the mode, softcore, hardcore, ladder, non-ladder. And as I showed in the settings, you can also change that and save your default here. And then if you're like a low-level dueler or something and you need to look for requirements, you can do this here. It's just hidden a little bit because it's not quite as useful. The other thing, because there are so many very kind of detailed filters that you can make, you can actually save a filter. So if I wanted to say, I want a steel shade filter for whatever reason, I can set up a steel shade. Maybe I should, this is another feature I guess you can, it's good to see, you can clear the filters. But let's say I just want to set up this steel shade filter. And maybe I want only ones that have like 6 to 8 mana stolen per hit. Do this on the fly quickly. Make sure this is actually working. So that is working for like this kind of steel shade. If I want to not have to remember and like type this in every time, I can do a saved filter. So here I can just make a new steel shade filter, and now it's saved. And so then if I come back here, reload this page, I can really quickly look for these matches that I might be interested in. One thing that is not at all obvious, and I'd like to fix that, is if you want to update this filter. So let's say now I only want like 7 to 8 mana stolen per hit. If you just reuse the same name, it'll give you an alert saying like, hey, this will be updated. And that's how you update a filter. Again, not obvious, I know. That's something that I kind of forgot about, and then I need to look through and figure out a better way to do that. Okay, so that was a long bit on the searching for trading. When you actually find your trade, there's a bunch of options that you can do too. You can look at this icon here, and you can see that, are these people all online? No, there's somebody offline. So this will tell you whether or not the user that has put this listing up is actually online in the game or offline in the game. But no matter what, if you click on this, it will copy just a quick default message, like I'm interested in your Nightwind's Veil, that you can then go into the game and quickly right click to paste that message and talk to them. If they're offline, you can still message them. You can still try. So again, if there's like a caching issue and they're actually online, but it says they're offline on the site, it doesn't stop you from clicking here. There is one known bug for any users of a non-English keyboard, that if you are in game and you right click, this pastes has weird formatting. It's nothing really, as far as I know, that we can do with to fix that, especially on the website side. But one quick workaround is if you go to the lobby chat and you paste it there, it does format correctly. So that's just a little helpful tip. Moving on, you can offer on here. It generally is better, and it gives you a nice little warning to not just put offer. So you can put a text offer here. You can use a numeric high rune value here, which is a little bit helpful again for like for sorting and for things like that. It's helpful to have that numeric value. You can share this if I wanted to like show a friend that, hey, there's this cool thing that you might be interested in. You can go into the chat and you can share it, and it gives you a link with a little pop-up of what that item actually is. You can favorite it, which just basically saves it to your favorites. And if you want to kind of watch something, but you don't necessarily want to offer on it, but keep track of it, that's kind of helpful, not used super often. And then you can start a chat with this person. So you can see it automatically kind of pre-populates a message for you and says, like, hey, I'm interested in this. So those are the actual options here. You can also click on the title if you want to go to a detailed view of that. One thing I did not mention is one that's handy if you're looking through a bunch of stuff is you can see there are a lot of properties on basically every PD2 item. And if you use compact mode, especially if you're doing things like using a phone and you don't really care about, like the image, you don't care about the static properties that have no variation. You only want to see the stuff that actually matters. You can use compact mode and it will keep things a little bit more compact as it would imply. And you only see the things that have variance in it. All right, so that is the actual trade experience for on the buy side. When you are creating a trade, you can go through and do it in a couple of different ways. You can go through the character view mode. So if I go and say, hey, I know I want to post things from Half Crimp, I can go through here. I can look through if for whatever reason I want to sell stuff from my mercenary or my stash. I can go through and do that stuff. You can just click on an item and then it pops up the item details. And from here you can post with price. Again, it gives you a nice warning. And high room price. Again, the high room price is helpful for people if they're trying to sort by things and whatnot. The other nice thing you can do is there is a feature to find similar. So this is essentially a price check feature. So if I go here, it'll look through archived existing trades for things that are specific. Now, one thing to note that it'll take every property that is on this item that has variation, and it will add that as a filter. So you can see it is very aggressive in terms of the filtering. So you may need to do things that are if you want to look at like a reasonable or kind of expand the matches here, you might need to go through and clear some of these out or modify them. But it kind of gives you a guess of a range of what your item falls under, and then kind of pre-fills this thing. So that is helpful if you're not really sure how to price something and you want to look at kind of historical options there. The other thing you can do in here is if you have stuff in your stash and you just don't know exactly where it is, you can search for something. So like on here, actually, let's look at somewhere else. Yeah, let's look at like a Jalal's. So you can see if I search for Jalal's, it'll highlight items that have that name. It is only a name search, and it'll highlight a tab if you're looking at your shared tab that has the item in it. The other option you can use for the way you actually create trades is the list view. And this looks very similar to the buy side of things that we mentioned. You can see this is more of a traditional list paginated view where you can use your filters and do things like that. And in here you can choose your character, stats page, all of that kind of stuff. And you can do the same thing where you can create items, create listings, and you can find similar and everything like that. Okay, that basically does it for the creation. We can go through the other type of trade that you can make, which is an exchange. Until recently, this was removed, but it turns out this is kind of useful if you want to do bulk trading or kind of combo trading. So this would be something like I have, a key set and I want, like I don't know, like an ist for it or something. So you can go through and you can provide things that you have, things that you want, and you can add multiples of those kind of things. So all of these items you can list individually from your stash page, and you can actually list a stack of things like runes in your stash page as well. But doing this combination of different items is something that Exchange is good at. So it's good for maps, that kind of stuff. A couple of things that are not very well known on here is if you shift click, it adds 10. So if you're doing like a bunch of low rune trading or things like gem trading, whatever, that's kind of handy. And you can shift click to delete 10 as well. So you can do all the stuff you can see here. For runes, gems, you can just do generic perfect gems. All the Uber ingredients you might want, all the maps, yeah, all the map orbs, all of there's kind of miscellaneous stuff like mirror and skeleton key and all that stuff, and just generic gold if you want to do any gold trading. So let's say I wanted to post an exchange. So let's say I want to break an ohm rune. So I don't know if I want to do like ohm for Vex Skull. So I could say I have the ohm rune. I want a Vex Skull, and then I can post this. And that goes off, and now my listing is up there. Now, if I were on the other side of things and say I want an ohm rune, I can search based on that, and I can see the posting that I just listed um, shows up, and so you can see it's a pretty fuzzy match. And if I'm specific about it and say like I definitely want um, this exact match, it'll show up. If I even have say that I want I don't know like Lem for this or something, it'll show up as well. So it's looking for it's kind of being very generous with the matching. But if I said like actually I don't want Ohm, I want Azad, obviously that won't show up. So the exchange is yeah looking for sort of making sure that you can see all of the exchanges that are being posted, so it's not overly filtered, but it is as specific as it kind of needs to be for that one. Okay. Then the next type of listing you can have is a service. So this one would be like rushing, Uber's declone service, that kind of thing. You can post that. You can do let's see if we can do like a hell rush. You can put the cost. You can say again whether it's hardcore, softcore, ladder, non-ladder, and then they'll show up in here. And again, you can offer on them like any normal kind of listing. If you go to manage, you can look at the stuff that you have listed. So I did a test listing a while ago. You can see that it is kind of grayed out. So that means it's expired. So that means it will not show up in the trade list if somebody's looking for it, but I can bump it and get it back up there. So I can go through, bump it individually. I can bump all at the same time, but it just updates it, puts it back on the top, so you can keep going. There's a limit here where you can only bump every 12 hours, so you're not just constantly staying at the top of the list. But that's just a helpful thing so that you can, we want to make sure that there are items that are fresh up on the top, but that you still have the ability to kind of keep them around and you don't have to relist stuff all the time. If you need to update an item information, if you just hit the modify price, you can change all this stuff, no problem. And if you need to delete it, you can delete it here. This actually moves it to the archive, which we'll talk about, and which we kind of saw in the price check, the find similar functionality. But you can't kind of unarchive it. It just saves it there for data. Next, you can go through and see any offers that you have. So I don't have any incoming offers on any items, but I do have outgoing offers. Let me fake one and I can do a incoming offer on those gloves that I just posted. So I'm doing this in another window, log into an account, and I'll offer. And then we'll also get an idea of the notification stuff too. So you can see I just offered off screen on this new thing. I got a notification that I have a new listing on my gloves. I can click on that and I can see the listing that I have. I also got would have gotten an offer on my Discord account if I had that set up. So that would be another option there. But if I go back to manage, or sorry, go back to offers, you can see now I have an incoming offer. It'll list all of your offers if you have a popular item, kind of one under another. So you can see who offered it, and then your actions here are either accept the offer, reject the offer, or you can start a chat with the person and haggle and do things like that. The offer system I know is underused. I know people like to use the standard Diablo 2 trading experience of messaging somebody in game, doing it there. I'm still really hopeful that we can get it to take off. It has a lot of big benefits in terms of it's very helpful for moderation. If you have any issues with trading, this actually gives you a like a history of what you're actually doing. It lets us do things like notify you in Discord when there's a new offer coming in. It's just all around has a lot of potential. It just hasn't had a huge amount of adoption. So if there is if anybody has any ideas, obviously post it in the web discussion channel. But again, this would be something that I am still trying to make sure that we have as much information in the site as possible, just because we can keep track of it a lot better than the in-game chat. You can see there's also a favorite section, so that steel shade that I favorited comes up here. It's just a list of those market listings that you have favorited, and you can unfavorite here and do all the normal things that you would be able to. You can go to your filters here that you might want, and you will, this is where if you want to delete a filter, you can go there. If you click on the filter, it will take you to the market listing page with that filter applied already. And there is a new feature coming out very soon that will let you toggle the ability to auto notify you in Discord when there's a new match to your filter. This should be out by the time Season 9 opens up, so I'll kind of go through it now. But what it does essentially, and I can pull it up on this other view here. So this is my other account that you can see has the option here. If you toggle these, first of all, before I forget, you are only allowed currently 10 of these to be active at any time. But what it does is when you're on the website, when you have an active session going on the website, it will ping the server every 5 minutes to check to see, hey, are there any new listings since the last time I pinged you that match this filter? If so, you will get a message in Discord that looks kind of like this. So like my filter that I was testing with before got a new match. So I didn't have to go on the website and look. I just had to go and get the notification in Discord. And if I click here, it'll go to that filter view so I can actually see what is new going on there. So filters are pretty powerful. If you want to do that Discord thing, the Discord integration, again, the requirements are you can only have 10 of them active. You have to be on the website so that we can actually check. And obviously you need to have Discord integration set up. but it is a pretty powerful thing. The one thing I would say when we do open this up is just make sure your filter is specific enough. Like you don't want to just have a filter that's like every grand charm um, that gets posted. Otherwise, your Discord will get it won't get spammed. Again, obviously, you will only ever get at most one message every 5 minutes, but it's not very useful. The last thing in the trade section here is the archive. So again, we kind of looked at this before, but this is a way of keeping track of both current trades. So you can see current trades show up here as well. But it is a list of current trades and expired, deleted trades. So if you want to look, again, that is what powers the price history. If you want to just look for old stuff, you can go through to the archive. Some people found it useful, so we opened it up. All right, so that is the trade section. In the game section, we have a little bit more stuff. So the Armory will let you look for either a user. We can load their account. We can see all their characters, and you can go in. If you don't know the username, but only know, the character name, you can load a specific character. Very similar to the listing view, you can favorite a character if for some reason you want to keep track of them for later. It gives you a little bit of information, and then if you click in, you see the character detail page. So similar to in-game, you can look at the items. If it is a character that you own, you will be able to see the stash view. And from here, very similar to the item creation, you can go through and you can actually create trades from this character view. So again, this is only because I own this character. If I went to a different character, like let's look at what we got here. Never mind. Let's look at Senpai's stuff. So here you can see I have much less information. I don't have the stash view, I don't have the cube view, and if I click on an item, it doesn't do anything, but I get the information. So let's go back and in my character view, which I have a little bit more info in, again, I have all the kind of base stats and skills. So we don't do any of the computed values. So it doesn't take into account like plus strength, plus skills, that kind of thing, just because that's a huge amount of work to have to go through. We don't get that from the game directly. We would have to go through like every item and calculate that, which if you're looking at this view, generally you're looking for a build, and so this becomes pretty useful. You can look at the mercenary stuff. You can look at the stash view again, and you can in here, if you, let's say I want to look for a spirit, you can see, again, I can do the highlighting where it highlights the tabs, it highlights the item, so it makes it a little bit easier to look for something if I want to list. All right, the other thing that I feel like is underutilized because I find it really useful is if you're on a character view, either yours or somebody else's, you can save a build. And what that does, it just takes a snapshot of that character in time. And so this becomes really helpful if you want to keep track of a character, if you want to have like just a historical record of a character, whether that character has a bunch of like trophy items or something on them, but you don't want to keep that character around, is very helpful. So for instance, I have a build saved from an old character, Half Crimp, from last season that I wanted to, save for whatever reason. Like I thought they were a fun character, it was a good build, but I wanted to delete them and reuse the name for the new season. So on this build view, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but it is exactly the same as the character view. But you can see that it just takes a snapshot of that character. And then if you wanted to take a snapshot of a character and then maybe see the current state of that character, it does keep track and just goes to latest character name. So as you can see, this character doesn't really make sense anymore because I reuse the name, so now it's pointing to an Amazon from this last season. But anyway, builds is really helpful, especially I feel like for guides. These are public, so if I wanted to um, make a guide for my shapeshifting druid build, I could post this link to people, and anybody can come and look at this build that would want to. Also in the Armory, um, there is the updated ladder. So this gets pinged. I think the cache time is 5 minutes or so, but it gets updated so you can keep track of the latest ladder. You can look through all the classes. You can go softcore, hardcore, and then each name links to the actual character build. If you want to look at like Onion, what's Onion doing? You can see their actual build as they're going through. Heroes is a thing that we added recently that the idea has been around for a while, but the keeping track of the historical like top 3 declone, Rathma, the 99, all of that stuff. And you can go through again, like the ladder, and go through by class, by a hardcore, softcore. Note that this is a very manual process to get this updated, which is why I kind of forgot to do season 7. We're trying to make this a little bit more um, automated, which would be kind of handy because we could do things like save a build when one of the top 3 Rathma actually occurs, and then we could link to that build and whatnot. But anyway, right now it's just lacking a little bit of functionality, but it's there. And then favorites, you can see any favorite that you have. So if I went through and wanted to favorite somebody, let's look at Onion. If I happen to favorite that person or that character a while ago, I can go through and kind of keep track of them that way. And these are just a link to the character, so not like a build. This is just a link to the current character. Those are the main things in the Armory. In here, there are also links to the server rules. You can see the wiki is always incredibly useful for information. Again, the game download is here. And then there are also links to the community section. So you can get to if you need to get to the Discord, the Patreon, Reddit, Twitch, Twitter, all that stuff. And then there's if you feel like you can donate to the cause, there is the helpful donate button as well. And finally, the news is not terribly used again, or very widely used yet, but I will try to just keep track of patch notes or any like big feature notifications that come in. So this is kind of like a historical version of the announcements channel in the Discord, in case people are coming through and looking through this stuff. So like season 8, I try to keep track in here of the actual patch notes, just to give somebody another option to look at it if they didn't want to find the link to the Google Doc again, that kind of thing. And oh, the last thing I forgot about to talk about is the chat here. So as we saw before, you can open up chat with different people in many different ways. And once you're in here, you can see it's just a general chat interface. So you can talk back and forth. You can, again, put the links to items in here that kind of show up a helpful pop-up. And then if you have a bunch of chats, like some people do, it's helpful to clean them out and delete them. Again, this just archives the chat. So if we need to reference it later, it doesn't fully delete it, but it just won't clutter up your UI here. All right, that is the site, all the kind of functions of the site. But I did want to go through and just give a couple of tips on debugging if you ever do run into an issue. One thing that happens commonly This is probably too much information that you don't necessarily need to know about. But there are kind of a couple layers of the how the website works. So there's the website itself, and in order to get the information, for instance, for the ladder and the character information, we obviously need to get that from the game server. And there is an intermediate server where we make those requests. And if that goes down, some of the functionality of the website will still work, but some of it won't, and it is kind of confusing to people. Um, so if you ever are on the site and you see these users on site and users in game, especially the users in game, if that becomes zero at any time, that probably means that there's some issue with the connection with that Realm server. It's a very easy fix, but again, if you just ping in that website discussion, we can have somebody to do that really quickly. But that's something that often happens. And then um, there is every once in a while you'll see a red banner at the top, kind of explaining a similar issue. So that's like kind of step one. If you're noticing anything weird going on the website, check to see if that is the case, and that is probably a very easy way to fix that. Next, if that's not if it's not as easy as that, we can go into dev tool land. So depending on your browser, it's a few different things, but if you hit F12 or inspect, you can open up the dev tools in your browser. First, if you look at the console, you can see we do get some information. So there are a few things already in here that are helpful. So like for instance, if a character of yours isn't showing up, or the character is showing up and none of the items are showing up, oftentimes that is a parse issue. Um, and you can see we get a helpful console message. So anyway, if you're debugging, you're opening a website ticket, whatever, it's very helpful to look through here, and then we can get a little bit more information about what is actually going on. Uh, if there's nothing here, there's still issues. What we might ask you to do, especially like with a specific request, let's say my login isn't working, um, is you might need to debug through the network tab. So if I reload, again, probably too much information, but we are using a WebSocket to pass the information back and forth. But it's helpful to know kind of how this works if we're debugging. So if you open up your network tab and you go through some of the messages, just knowing kind of where this generally is helpful. It gets us kind of ahead of the game, and then we can um, kind of guide you from there. But these are, for instance, all the messages going back and forth from the game front end to the game back end, and that is often a very helpful way to find out what is going on with your specific situation. One final debugging thing, and it's more of like a speculative debugging, I suppose, that I suspect is behind some of the issues that people have with connections, with things like chat notifications not going through, things like that, where you're not hearing a sound or you're not getting an update on the website, is that a lot of modern browsers nowadays have a sleep, like a sleep tab functionality where it frees up some memory for unused tabs. And I would imagine that is the cause of some of the connection issues. So I don't have my tab is still active right now, but if you have a PD2 tab open and it's in the background and you see that it goes to sleep, I believe that means that sometimes the WebSocket connection that I talked about earlier gets disconnected or paused. It might silence some of the audio notifications and things like that. So anyway, if you want to make sure everything's up and running, just make sure that that tab is at the forefront um, of your actual tab. So keep it actually open. This is another big reason I would say that the Discord integration will be a big deal, just because even if we're not getting notifications on the website, Discord, that's like their whole deal is you're always going to get a notification from Discord. So if you turn that on, you're more guaranteed to get those important notifications that you wouldn't want to miss. If you want to try it, I think I'll probably do this myself just to see if it helps. You can turn off the memory saver, at least in Chrome, for certain websites. So you can go into your Chrome settings or whatever your browser is, your settings, and you can add, PD2 to the projectdiablo2.com to your list of sites that you don't want to go to sleep. I haven't fully tested that, so I can't guarantee that that will work, but that's just an idea if you're having issues with notifications not coming through. That is basically it for the website. So hopefully this is helpful, and I hope we can add a lot more functionality and keep this thing going, and hope everybody has a great upcoming season. All right, bye everybody.